You're afraid it doesn't, so he'll have to fly with a stopover. But this is a good warm-up for him, given that he is in Kazakhstan for the World Rapid and Blitz Championships, correct?
Yes, and we should also keep in mind one factor. Of course, them playing online, and if Hans starts off very, very well, there's always that element, of him getting into the opponent's heads, right? There are always that whole cheating allegations from the past. They're always can get inside your head. So it's indeed important for Hans to start well and make Maxim question reality.
And here we go. The gong has sounded. We're underway. Maxim has the white pieces in the first game. Rui Lopez, not particularly surprising. Hans, he likes the Caro-Kann. That's been his choice against me in our 3+0 matches. But he does a lot of opening work, and he's got a lot of weapons up his sleeve. A2, A4, an anti-martial. Anish, obviously a very popular line, and now Black is at a crossroads between B4, Bishop B7, and Rook B8, I believe, are the three big options.
Yeah, exactly. Bishop B7, that's also what Hans did against Vidit in the Grand Swiss. So I think Hans plays these... Marshall is one of reliable openings in his repertoire. He's played it in some important games. I also remember some US championships and so on. So no surprise there from Hans. Maxim is also a big specialist of the Spanish. Maxim has played this position on the white side many times. And so kind of a principled opening duel here between these two players.
Now, sometimes the knight goes to C3, and often the destination is the same. Often the destination ends up being G3, but you can go through several different airports. Knight BD2 is the traditional way to play. Knight A5, preparing queenside expansion with C7, C5. So far, pretty standard treatment of the opening by both sides. I'm sure still within theoretical waters. Anish, sometimes I see this Bishop C8, Bishop E6 maneuver. I'm never totally sure how to handle this position with Black.
Yeah, there are two ways of dealing with the bishop on B7. You can either activate it with the D5 break at some point and then make the bishop shine on the diagonal, or you can indeed, like you mentioned, reroute the bishop back to C8 and E6. And in this particular position, this is the second plan is more, it's more intuitive, and that's also what Hans goes for.
Displaying a good understanding of the position. Now, Bishop D2 is Maxim preparing C3. First, he starts with Knight to E3, obviously also a viable spot for the knight, gripping some of these important light squares. And now a bishop trade is on the horizon.
Yes, a trade on E6 will solve Black's issue of the weak light squares, but of course the long-term weak pawn on E6 could prove an issue. Big moment for Maxim. He's got lots of options. He can place a piece on D5. Oh, this allows B3. Very, very important moment, because this could bury the bishop on B1 and the rook on A1 as well. So C3 is a move I wouldn't have made so quickly. A very risky decision by Maxim.
Let me quickly show people what the stakes are in this position for white. If Black plays B3 and Hans is still thinking, white will have to drop the bishop, and Hans just played B3. Now let's say Black plays a move like Rook B8. If white pushes D4, or maybe Queen C7 is a smarter move, D4, C4, and just take a moment to appreciate, folks, that this bishop and this rook are essentially never getting out. You're just like playing without a queen side unless you sacrifice a pawn with a drastic move like Knight D5. Queen C7 is on the board, Anish.
Yes, I suspect. Indeed, I suspect C4 is an idea to go bishop to C3, or even take knight D2, try to win the... Oh, wow. He goes for what you mentioned. Yeah, there's D4 and then knight D5. Yeah, that's an idea, but Black could even think to ignore that. A move like... Although it's hard, yeah, E5 pawn is falling. I was about to just Queen D8, but then E5 pawn might be falling. I don't know, but knight D5, okay, I can just take it. And... your bishop will come to life, but the rook still is on A1, and I could exploit the D file if it opens with Black.
Knight to F5 instead. I mean, he's obviously hoping that after the trade, this white bishop will have a small escape window on E4.
Yeah, so, I mean, strategically, this play by white is very risky. You're really going all in on the kingside initiative, but you risk to end up playing without two pieces, a rook and a bishop. Very, very risky decision by Maxim, and he takes it so lightly. I'm quite surprised by that. I'm sure in a classical game he would think more than twice about it, but in a blitz game he thinks, okay, let's just do it and see what happens. Yeah,
he's like a pilot during a thunderstorm. The plane is shaking, the coffee's spilling, the passengers are screaming, and it's just another day at the office. But Maxime has to keep the plane stable here. Rook a to d8, criticized by the computer, but the computer criticizes everything. It hates all that is beautiful in life. Hans keeping the tension, Maxime doing so as well. So white refusing to take on e7. I mean, technically white could have taken a pawn, but that didn't seem appealing at all because the bishop would have stayed buried on b1. But now he does. Now he does.
He takes on e7, but he's not going to be able to win the pawn on e5, right? Like he'll probably take with rook, but then bishop g5. But even that, it's not so clear. You do have to checkmate me there. And if you don't, at the end of the day, I mean, you'll start attacking with the 3 pieces you have left, but the other 2 are in the corner, and I will have more pieces in defense than you have in the attack. So I'm not so thrilled with white's position. Even rook e7, bishop g5, h6, bishop f6, gf, and just go for it. And
how can white be better when you're playing without these 2 pieces and there's no obvious roadmap for getting them out of the gate? Now, Hans is taking a while. I would have honestly taken to the rook quickly. Is there some tactic there that is? I mean, bishop g5, bishop f6, I guess, is scarier if you're actually sitting at the board.
Yeah, and also I sort of said that it could not work. It could also work. Yeah, how do I know? I'm just sort of easy. It's easy to expose other people's king. Yeah, when it's yours, it's a different story. So I understand Maxime's hesitation as well.
Oh, I find it all too easy to expose my own as well. I've learned that lesson one too many times. Now, queen takes c7 is a positional pawn sacrifice, but the upside is that, and he does play queen e7. Now, I think Maxime has to take on e5.
Yes, but at this moment, bishop g4. Wow, nice resource. Now, black is trying to exploit the fact that white is temporarily has his rook on a1 out of play, because the rook will eventually get into play, but temporarily it's out. So black is trying to be very quick here.
And this knight on a5 is really the engine of black's entire construction, just sitting there in the corner, chilling with a pina colada and burying white's entire queenside. If you play queen takes g4, people, black will play rook takes d2, then the b2 pawn will be hanging. Is white in trouble? I mean, clearly Maxime missed bishop g4. That came out of nowhere. And if you play h3, Anish, knight e5, this is looking ominous for Maxime.
Yes and no. Of course, the rook on a1, as we mentioned it many times. But you are up a pawn, and if at some point you get f4, e5 rolling, you activate the b1 bishop, you activate the a1 rook, you'll be doing great. So white's position has potential, but currently there are some difficult questions to answer. Like, what is your next move?
yeah. Starting with, what do you do now? Because f4 queen c5 check is a non-starter. If you can push this knight away, f4 becomes a serious possibility. He plays queen takes g4. Okay, maybe e5 after rook takes d2, because the priority is getting this bishop out of prison.
So the b pawn is being sacrificed.
Wow.
Right?
You're not supposed to take it.
Why? Oh, e6, queen h5, something like that, but it's not obvious.
Oh, this knight on a5, I sung its praises just a second ago. It's undefended.
I think taking on b2 is tempting. I think Hans will do that. I don't expect.
Smells a rat. Queen c5, hitting the pawn.
That makes sense too. He wants to first activate the queen, secure the knight on a5 somewhat, and then take on b2 next after queen f4.
But the issue for black is queen f4, rook takes b2. That rook is sort of trapped on b2, which is not imminently dangerous. I mean, you don't have queen c1, you relinquish the f2 pawn, but it's a little bit scary. Maybe bishop f5 and e6 there. White could take over the initiative pretty quickly.
Yes, white will have the active rooks. Bishop will come out. Rook from a1 will go to d1. White will have more pieces in the attack briefly. But of course, long term, the b3 pawn is there. So if we imagine any rook endgame, then white's already doomed in those rook endgames. Maxime goes for queen h4, which is attacking the h7 pawn as well as defending the f2 pawn. But after g6, the question is again, how do you proceed? The e5 pawn hangs and the b2 pawn hangs. So probably his last move was just not accurate. He just lost him time.
He's just losing a tempo. Yeah, you're right. Rook takes c5 is now a huge threat. This pawn was really the source of your counterplay. He might have to play queen f4, but then black has rook takes c5. Tactic? No, he doesn't. Queen takes d2.
But just rook b2, so now black won a tempo compared to the line before. It got g6 for free.
And white doesn't have bishop f5.
Queen e5.
Oh, queen e5.
Wow. By the way, that's a game. I see. Let's see if and
he finds it.
Yeah.
It's over.
No, this is wow. Look at Hans. Look at Hans. Yeah.
Oh, he smiles, and that's his first.
Look at him. Look at him. Look at him. Look at him.
Oh my gosh, he is Hans fired up, and he should be.
Yes, Hans is on adrenaline there.
Holy mokes! I mean, that was something else.
This is a good one. Holy mokes! This is some home prep there by.
No, that was on the spot.
On the spot, yeah. The adrenaline in you, yeah.
Brought out the adrenaline in me.
Now, Hans so thrilled with himself. There is this epic video from back in the Hans streaming days before the whole thing broke down. Is when Hans is like, saying, "I'm so good at this game." There's this nice video. Hans definitely happy with himself there.
No,
total chaos in this game again.
Okay, this is like a Caro-Kann structure out of us. Like, you will never guess this came from a Sicilian. This looks like a C5 Caro-Kann or a French.
Yeah, it's 100% a Caro-Kann. In the French, you rarely get to trade the bishops so early on, yeah?
Wow.
Yeah, Black appears to have a decent French structure. G3, H4, always unpleasant. Always unpleasant. This G6 knight is clumsy. Maybe get the bishop, maybe bishop D8 and knight E7 kind of idea is something Black can go for.
Oh man, I feel like this is a big moment here. Maxime has to stabilize. He's down a point. Not for the first time this match, but
Maxime is down a point.
Maxime is down a point for the first time since the first game. It's been wire to wire ever since.
How did that happen that he's down a point? Wow, I didn't notice that.
He lost, and then he lost again.
But what? Sorry, so it was some. Nice. Oh yeah, there was this good game by Hans, of course. Yeah, Hans played a clean game, and then there was this greasy Berlin end game. Yeah, very impressive.
Okay, now this is a pivotal moment here with 23 minutes left in the segment. If Hans can get this up to a 2 or 3 point lead into the bullet, I mean, he's got great chances already. Knight to C6 by Maxime. I like this reaction.
Yeah, the knight on G6 is going to go via F8 to H7, defend the king pretty well though from G4, G5, and then Black will castle. This is not such a terrible setup.
Bishop D2, patient move by Hans, waiting for Black to castle and keeping H5 in reserve.
Yes, that's nice. That's very nice. Bishop C5 though, it's a move I was advocating for. I was going for Bishop D8. Bishop C5 here is a better opportunity. You want that E7 square for your knight. This is the most standard square.
Yeah, and opening up the C7 square, as you're saying. Now H5 is not quite as effective. B4, initiating the trade. Okay, Bishop takes D4, pretty committal move, giving up some dark squares. What do you think of that, Anish? Maxime?
Yeah, I mean it's a move of a Najdorf player, not of a Caro-Kann player. Maxime is he's used to playing these forcing kind of openings where you solve your problems by concrete means, and then it's always Bishop takes D4, but some Caro-Kann players, they like to be more cagey. They are playing, slowly around and all these moves, Bishop B6, A6, waiting for you to come at them. Now, yeah, B5, H5, Bishop B4, all these ideas are there, and the Black has to navigate. Black has to navigate this position very accurately.
Yeah, somewhere in the world, Pavel Ulyanov groaned when he saw a move like Bishop takes D4. I was just trying to think of a Caro-Kann expert, knight D8. Ugh,
yeah, Pavel Ulyanov is the nice one. Yeah, H5, and okay, he's even waiting for H5. No, Hans has got the momentum there.
Rook C1 is a great move. Stopping, Rook C4, Rook takes C4 maybe should be tried by Maxime, but that would be desperation.
Yeah, you need the knight on D5 already. Yeah, you need already the knight on D5. With the knight still on G6, Rook C4 is a little early, I feel.
A4, H5, the question is when does White push and what is White's next stage, right? You've maximized your pieces.
Yeah,
where do you play, queen side or king side?
Yeah, not so easy, because I want to go knight b7 and trade the rooks on the c file. It's not that much for white. At least, okay, it's actually +2. Well, I mean, maybe there is something very strong here. But if you allow black to go knight b7 and trade the rooks, there is a scenario where black is always worse, but there is a scenario where he somehow knight on d8. By the way, it's a terrible piece.
Now, queen a3, I'm trying to find the right moment for that move. Queen a3 sets up a hit on the knight, a7, and rook c1 is possible. Hans, great full board awareness.
Rook c1, yes. And queen a6.
Wow, yeah, you cannot do knight b7 either.
Maxime is having a rough stretch there, by the way. Hans playing incredible chess for the third game in a row. with all the
bishop d6.
Yeah, no, Maxim's gonna have a rough patch here.
Yeah, sorry. Please continue, Anisha. Bishop d6. I wanted to point out.
Yeah, no, it's if he finds
Russian.
bishop d6 as well, then I mean, it looks very worrying for black. Okay, soft move. Soft move there by Hans. But what is black's move though? I don't see any move for black.
Oof. Ooh, queen c1.
It's beautiful. It's even more pretty than bishop d6. Look at Hans.
Wow,
Hans, my man.
Is in the crosshairs.
Hans, my man. Rook c7. Let's go. Maybe knight d2. Just annihilate him. Make sure he has no moves at all.
Well, rook c7, queen d8. It's not over. Bishop takes a5. Maybe just get rid of that knight.
And take on a7 after queen c6, knight b6. Yeah, just take queen c5 or queen c6. Black has no moves. If knight b6, I take on a7.
Wow, this is going into the textbooks.
No, but this stretch of the match is very impressive.
Okay, but still need to make king g2. Hans trying to channel his Soviet schoolboy, but you know sometimes this can backfire.
No, but Hans, he's got style. He's sometimes he knows what a good move looks like.
Oh, definitely. Now queen b7, tightening the screws and tightening the screws.
Black is running out of moves. He's just making some moves. He's running out of them.
You're gonna have to give up a7 at some point. You have to look for activity. Maybe can't even go f6.
Yeah. Takes and knight c4. Okay, Maxim has found a great resource, but knight f3. No, this is knight f3, and bye-bye.
That's it.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye. Knight is lost.
Look at Hans.
That's curtains.
Look at Hans. I think he's getting into Maxim's head.
It's tied, folks. It's tied, and this is the final game of the match. If it's a draw, we go into overtime. Here we go. Hans has the white pieces.
Hans has the white pieces, yeah. No, I'm predicting Maxim to take this one. What the hell is rook c8?
Rook c8, weird move, but doesn't really change the position.
No.
But very pleasant for Hans out of the opening. He's got the center. He's got what he wants.
Yeah, but...
e5, what is Maxim doing?
e5 is nice. e5 is
horrible opening.
e6?
e6?
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. This is... Oh,
MVL.
Take knight g5. You win exchange.
G5.
Oh, he's just losing exchange. This could be it. Beware. Knight c7, knight f7, king g8, knight h... Oh, okay, knight f7. Knight f7.
Queen h3, and you should also knight e6. Maybe Hans can even maximize this advantage.
Wow. But I think you collect.
He's thinking about it.
Yeah. No. But now you collect. Of course. This is
Maxim
too deep.
simply sleepwalking his way through that opening. Knight g8.
Knight g4, queen f4 maybe loses on the spot or not. And then bishop c3 you have still. Okay, this position is half lost for white.
Still some converting to do, though. I mean, if Maxim can get that queen out of f7, he has some chances.
Queen e7, bishop f2. Queen f8 is a good try. Good try, practically.
Crafty defensive move.
Queen e7, knight f2, queen d7, knight h3, king h1, f2, rook f2. I think it's winning for white. Or not?
Okay, but the eval bar shows what is the move here. Queen f5, that wasn't it.
That wasn't it.
That was not it.
Why? But it's bishop e3. That's a clincher. Bishop e3, yeah, and h3 just. The queen is almost trapped though, but I have queen f7 after knight f6.
Knight f6 is forced. You can't go to h6.
Yeah, I have f7 square.
So white can chill. Queen f7 here, or maybe even rook d1. There's no hurry.
Bishop h6 also there. Bishop h6 to go back. I like
knight g8 though.
Yeah, knight g8. Knight g8. Queen g5, but yeah, it's tricky.
You missed it, and 20 seconds for Hans.
Queen g5, but it's... Queen h4 with bishop f6, queen f4, Yeah, white is winning, but it's definitely chokeable.
It's chokeable, and queen drops back. Maxim keeping pieces on the board. He has to...
Is there a threat?
Hans' block down.
Is there a threat takes and bishop f4? No, queen h4. Okay.
So close.
Oh, no, 97 is not it. Okay, no, but now white is stable. Yeah, now white is in control here. It is still chokeable, but already with lots of effort. Bishop f4, 94. No, bishop f4, 94 was just lights out.
Okay, rook c4, trying to get active, trying to go rook d4. Hans trading some pieces, though. He's very close. He's just a few accurate moves away from winning this.
Is good. Yes. No, Hans got this. I think Hans has got
trading
this.
Pieces. Rook e4, bishop e3. Now the knight is hanging. Still
chokeable, but of course it's fully in control
now. Still a game.
b3, just go b3.
But knight d4 and knight d4 maybe
d3
some activity here.
Okay, for now it's a fake activity, but it can escalate at some point if you are not accurate enough. Oh, but queen g3 maybe leaks in at some point. Be careful. Take queen g3. Oh, f4 or not?
f4. Slicing off the rook. This is getting tactical, though.
This is getting a bit tricky.
This is getting tricky. The dark
Maybe take on
queen
e5 and queen d7. No, knight g7. No, this is tricky. Yeah, don't panic. Don't panic like me.
Oh,
this is a big one.
b7.
It's a big one.
It falls with check.
Everything falls with checks now.
And another pawn falls. Hans is knocking on the door. Queen d5.
Rook b2. b3. Rook b2.
Rook b2. Don't blunder mate. Oh my gosh. And he's blundered his queen.
Oh, but he's lucky. He pawn takes and bishop f2. He's so lucky. It's incredible.
Wow,
he's so lucky. It's incredible. He was completely... Oh, white is so lucky by rook e7
and GG. And it's the match.
Look at Hans. Look at Hans. Look at him. Look at him. Look at that boy. Look at Hans. Look at Hans.
Oh my goodness, Hans Niemann, despite that last second scare, he lost his queen and bishop f2. He won the knight, he won the game, he wins the match. We're back at the Speed Chess Championship with Grandmaster Hans Niemann, whose chess spoke for itself. His first SCC match is a victory over Maxime Vachier-Lagrave. One of the most entertaining matches I think we've ever seen. Hans, congratulations. First question, what's going through your head right now, and what does this first SCC victory mean to you?
I'm very happy with how I played in some moments. It was either very, very good or quite poor. So hoping I could have been a bit more consistent. But Maxime, was won the SEC and is very, very strong, an X4 champion in Blitz. So it's certainly a big victory. I'm sure many people thought that I was a huge underdog, but I guess I showed that it was a bit closer than people would have predicted.
Yeah, Hans, as you mentioned yourself, in some of the moments you played really, really well, sometimes less. I think one of the things that made you so notorious is that your level of play is fluctuating a lot. And how do you explain that yourself, like this specific style of yours? What do you see is the reason for that?
I think that some of the positions that I was getting at the opening, and I watched, in preparation for this match, I didn't really check that many openings, but I watched like maybe 5 or 6 hours of all of his matches. And I feel like in time pressure, I was blundering. So perhaps the swings I'm better at certain positions, but I don't, this notion that I have very large swings was more so used for another implication. So I don't really take it too seriously.
Hans, this is your first SCC appearance. Obviously, by the numbers, you're an underdog, but you're also very confident. You're expecting yourself, I'm pretty sure, to win a lot of these matches. How motivated are you by the potential for a match against Magnus? And how do you kind of bring yourself into that zone of confidence where you expect to beat a lot of these top guys?
Well, if it wasn't for, all of these sort of unfair attacks and being defamed by so many people and blacklisting me and not inviting me to any tournaments, then I think that my rating would be much higher. With St. Louis not inviting me, chess.com banning me for no reason. So I would say that the misinterpretation of my real chess level actually comes from the lack of opportunities. And I think that as I was given an opportunity here to show my best chess, I showed that I could beat one of the best players in the world. So for me, my only motivation is to become the best chess player in the world and compete against the best chess players. And all I hope is that I receive the simple opportunity to play. Because, of course, once I start getting invitations again, I assume that I'll be able to show that I can beat the top players like I did today.
So Hans, as you mentioned yourself, you believe your strength is very high. We've certainly seen that as well. How do you work on your game? Like, you've improved from 2400 to 25 to 2600, 2700, and so on. How do you work on your game? Like, could you share, without going into specifics, what exactly you work on?
Well, I think over the past few years, it's been a lot of building psychological strength because it's very, very difficult to play when everyone is sort of maliciously accusing you and trying to ruin your career by pressuring organizations not to invite you. So I would say that if most players had to play under the stress, as I was 19 years old at the time, they would also, face difficulties in their career. But I think over the past 2 years, I have not just improved in chess, but I have improved my mental strength. And now I have the mental fortitude to, no matter what my sort of upset, insecure sort of opponents who can't handle losses have to say or try to do doesn't affect me, and I'm going to show my best chess every day. So I would say that most of it is just sort of building mental strength and working through things that have happened and how to have focus when things go wrong. And I think that perhaps now I'm fully sort of able to navigate all of that pressure and stress and able to show my best chess.
Yeah, it's certainly very important, but still, your chess understanding is incredible. Your chess skills are as well. I want to know more chess specifically, because you definitely work on chess a lot.
Sure.
I assume.
Well,
how do you work on chess specifically?
Yes, well, I like to play a lot of blitz and training games. One of the big breakthroughs that came for me was playing, I guess, during the pandemic or shortly after, when I would just play a lot of blitz. And I also, in classical chess, I played around 260 games in 1 year, which I think is a record. So I personally find that it's best to learn and practice. And I guess I have the ability to just play, thousands and thousands of games and sort of build some pattern recognition and understanding through sort of volume. And I think Hikaru is a player who has improved that way as well. So, of course, you work on openings and calculation and you have coaches. But I would say that I personally try to do what I enjoy. And when I am in a good mood and I'm enjoying life and I feel good, then I play my best chess. I think this notion of, as you saw, my Berlin theory was not too up to date today, but I was playing quite well, and that was more important. So I would just say that I play a lot and just try to fortify my mind.
Yeah, makes sense. Thank you.
Hans, I have one last question. You obviously don't have a lot of time to celebrate. You're in Kazakhstan for the World Team Rapid and Blitz. Can you talk a little bit about that event, the team that you've assembled, and your approach going into this event, which I believe starts tomorrow?
Yeah, so my website, gmhans.com, is sponsoring a team. We've got a very strong and talented team, including Visu, Brandon Jacobson, hoping he'll be back on chess.com soon. But she's going to show his best chess over the board and let the chess speak for itself here. We've got a very strong team of very talented players. So looking forward to this event. I think we're going to be world champions. And I think, again, we're going to be vastly underestimated. We've got a junior board, Ahiyad Mero, who's actually chess.com staff. You see that badge in his chess.com account. He is an 1850 FIDE player with a 2700 chess.com rating. So, we've got some dark horses, some very underrated, talented juniors who I think are going to surprise in the next week.
Grandmaster Hans Niemann, congratulations on your first SEC victory. Good luck in the World Teams tomorrow, and good luck against Wesley and in the SEC in general.
And I look forward to seeing you in the Blitz pool, both of you.
I'll be challenging you pretty soon.
Okay, yes, but Anish is running away, so we need him to play.
Oh no! I'm taking you to a place in Utrecht I know, and I'm going to.
Yes. We're going to the wedding venue. We're going to the wedding venue to have real intimacy.
It's going to be. We're going to play. I'm going to play Hans in a wedding hall, guys. It's going to be very intimate. It's a wedding hall. We're going to spend hours there together.
Yes, one of the most prestigious venues in Utrecht, not to underestimate.
Yeah, at the very center, the heart of town, the wedding hall where all the beautiful couples are newlyweds.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you guys.
Thank you, Hans.